Hi everyone, I'm Bohunicky, an independent researcher examining the intersections of play, writing, critical theory, and eco-criticism. Phil, my co-author, and I discuss the topic of incompleteness in video game horizons from the perspective of game design. Phil, feel free to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Kira. My name is Phil Corrado. I am the level designer at Agrocrab Games, a Seattle-based indie studio currently working on a game called Another Crab's Treasure.
We wanted to talk about horizons in video games implying some sort of larger reality in what they present than what's actually explorable and what's actually there. We might call that actuality, or how the player experiences the reality of the game. But, you know, as a designer, how do you think about that?
Horizons being able to bring about a much wider understanding of a world that you're playing through than you ever would actually move through in the game is something that from the earliest games that were able to render a background, like when the limitations of hardware allowed them to add going from just basic background sprites to especially parallax, and now in 3D being able to manipulate and obscure sight lines to frame specific things, you can get away with creating the illusion of a much larger space around the player that they're moving through than you would ever have to actually make, which is great for production because you don't have to make all that space. And also, depending on your game, it might be detrimental to the experience if you did have to. It might make the flow of the level worse or more cumbersome. Or like if you're making a 2D platformer that's in a city, being able to have the parallax of a city behind the character as they move across the screen allows that space to come alive without you having to then change the entire game to then inhabit the city that you're rendering.
Thanks everyone for checking out our video. My thanks to my co-author for his insightful contributions, as well as to the editors for providing us with the opportunity to briefly set out into the fascinating and complicated horizons of video games.